Okay, so once more welcome to the online class of MEG 3, Book 2, and it's Pride and Prejudice, written by Jane Austen, which we are going to look here. So it's really very good novel written by Jane Austen. Jane Austen is a lady. I hope you might have heard her. She's a very popular writer in English, especially in the 19th century. Um, so let us see a little about her and let us know who Jane Austen is and what's her style of writing and in which particular era she has written this particular novel. See, actually, when we are talking about Pride and Prejudice, you can see that this the writer, that is the novelist Jane Austen, she lived in the century that is 19th century, that is in romantic period. Okay, but the the background set in this particular novel, that is in Pride and Prejudice, is that of 18th century. Okay, so this can be done. Okay, as yesterday I talked more about what a novel is, how a novelist is writing in a novel and all. And in that, we have seen that the novelist is always trying to invite the things or trying to take the things which are around him or take the things which are really there and to his novel in a way of parody. Okay, and likewise, it may not be the stage or the age in which he himself is standing. The time may be in the past, or time may be there are some very creative writers like many creative writers are there who write their novel by setting some time which is in a future. Okay, some science fictions and all, you can find that the novels are set in the future. That is not now. Many more technologies are being found, and many new creatures are there with us, and it's the future. Or we can say that a world which we have not ever seen. Okay, and it is being predicted to be in the future. So, here we can see that Jane Austen has set this particular novel in her past, that is one century past, which is the 18th century. Actually, she lived in the 19th century, and that is Romantic period or classic classicism. You can see that Romanticism or classicism. Okay. Now, let us see. She has born in 16th December 1775. Okay, let's see something about Jane Austen. And she's very popular English novelist, and her novels comment upon the British landed gentry at the end of the 18th century. So most of her novels we can find that they set in the end of the 18th century, though she lives in the 19th century. And we know it's very cool to understand about the setup or the surrounding of the novel because we have already seen what are the things happening, what are the social what are the social situation, social, cultural, and economic, financial, and attitudinal situations in the 18th century in Tom John's yesterday. We have seen it, isn't it? But here so she has set her novels in that particular era. Okay, it's very important to know that actually, in order to understand the novel in a good manner, you have to know in a deeper way. You should know more about the mindset of the writer when that writer has written that novel. Okay, and we know that all her major novels are women centered. Okay, she is we can find that she is a feminist, and we can say that she is a woman. She always write her novels in a way of woman-centric way. Okay, woman will be the protagonist always in her novels. Okay, and uh, and the reason is that at that time, actually at that time, that is especially in the late 18th and 19th century, we can find that women, the condition of women were not appreciable. They were deprived of many prestigious occasions or prestigious means. They were deprived of many good things. So uh, they were not appreciable or upgraded as we are now, as we women are enjoying now in this society. Okay, so women were so much subjugated at that particular era, and you may find that even say if you are taking the age Victorian age, okay, in the Victorian age, that is the age. So there we can find that women were not allowed to write novels. The novels of women were not published. It was such a situation. Okay, women were so much subjugated at that time. So this is the very reason why Jane Austen in the 19th century she wrote about the women in the 18th century. Okay, and she was so much concerned about the position of women in the society, that they were not given any opportunity to, or they were not given any platform to perform themselves, their skills, their every expressions of their emotions, all these things were deprived. Okay, and so that's why you can find that in Jane Austen's almost every novel of Jane Austen, you can find that will be women-centric novels. Here also, in Pride and Prejudice, you can find that women is there is a the protagonist is Elizabeth, a woman, and you can find her lives and her thoughts. The story is being told from her part. Okay, now another thing is that. We can find many irony, humor, and social commentary in her novels. That's another peculiarity. See, she's very humoristic, and she uses many irony, that is very sharp language when she writes novel. And it's still, we know that what's the reason why she's writing the novel. She wants to upgrade the women, position of women. She wants to show the patriarchal society that see how far women are suffering, what are the issues of women, why they are being deprived, why they are being deprived of the social privileges which they could get. Okay, so these are the questions which arises in her. So through her novels, she want to show that she want to bring up all these topics into the society and make the men or make the stakeholders of the society to understand that what is the condition of such a group in there who are living together with their society. Okay, so such an injustice should be brought. Okay, so for that she uses very sharp languages. She uses irony very beautifully, and her irony is being used. Then humor is being used, and in social commentary you can find in her novels. Okay, and while we are talking about Jane Austen, you should know that she is well known for her six novels. Okay, six novels, and you should know these novels. If you want, you can write it down. First one, which we are right now reading, is Pride and Prejudice, obviously. Then comes Sense and Sensibility. Okay, Sense and Sensibility is the novel, second novel which we can find. Then Mansfield Park. Mansfield Park is another novel. Then we can see Emma. 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 Then another one is North Anger Abbey. North Anger Abbey. And the sixth one you can see it's Persuasion. Persuasion. If you didn't get, you can just refer. Okay, you can get anywhere. This see. So these are the six novels for which the our Jane Austen is famous for. Okay, so now we can find that Pride and Prejudice. She has it is the most charming of her novels, and this novel. It's the most charming of her novel. And another one, The Sense and Sensibility. It's the most well-rounded novel of her. We can find it more well-rounded one. Then Emma is the cleverest one novel. It's been called as the cleverest one. Then Mansfield psychological novel, the psychological novel. Then North Anger Abbey, the excellent one. Then Persuasion is the most beautiful novel. So these are the things which you have to know a little bit about the. See, always I have told you that if you want to understand, if you want to uh, get the real essence of what you are reading about the novel which you are reading, any discourse, you should know more about that writer. So, because the writer is the person who is writing it and he only knows what he is up to. So, in order to understand or even to criticize and even to understand in many critical versions, we should first know that what the writer is telling. Okay, then you can write. You see, there are many in criticism. You will come that you can divorce the author and read it. Okay, and if you are just reading, analyzing only the text as the formalist or the new criticism says, uh, you can also understand it in such a way. But before that, we should once, if you read once, first and foremost time when you read, you should know about the writer. And whenever you write an essay on this novel, whenever you attempt a question which is being asked in any novels or any discourse, see, you have to write about the writer. So bear in mind, never miss it. Okay, you have to write about the writer and just mention about the background of the writer, the era in which the writer has set. Actually, the writer lives, and the if you are talking about the novel, you should say that in which particular age it is being said, the novel is being said. Okay, the novelist may be living in a particular age, he may set the novel in a different stage, as here we can find. Okay, so these are the things which you should know at least about the novel. Now let us see what are the mm, let us come into the novel and let us see the story of Pride and Prejudice. As I have told you, these are the novels which comes in the earlier part of the, that is earlier stages of novel. We know that novel has been risen only in 18th century, and this we are talking about the novel from 19th century. So a little bit interesting. It will be more than Tom Jones, but here also you can find that a lot. It's very interesting novel. It's very popular one. You can read it in this. Say now itself you can in this generation, the students and many readers are reading Jane Austen, okay? Because she's very sharply using many ironic language, and she's very sharply lashing the patriarchal society and bringing up the position of women towards the society. So many are reading it. Many, most of the women, and not only women, most of the men are reading her. That is reading Jane Austen. Now, let us see that in the novel. Okay, so here also you can find that a lot of characters will be there. So see, as I told you, first of all, what you have to do is that after this class, just write the characters and just write the relationship of those characters to the protagonist and just make a chart for each novel. Okay. then it'd be easy for you to understand the novel and recall the novel. If once before the exam, if you are just looking at the chart itself, you can just trace the story of the novel and recall it. Okay. Now let's get into the novel. And here, the novel starts in a place called Longbourn, okay, which is a countryside. Longbourn, name of the country. It's a countryside. It's a place in England. Okay, the whole novel is being set in England itself, and Longbourn is a place in England. It's a countryside. Now, there lived a family of Mr. and Mrs. Bennett. Okay, so if you're talking about Mr. Bennett, see that's a family of Mr. and Mrs. Bennett, and they do have five children, that five daughters. All the children are daughters. They have five daughters, and they are living in Longbourn. And if you're talking more about the family, see, the family is the whole thing. And if you're talking about more about the family, you can find that Mr. Bennett is say, and we can find he's a well sorted person, and he speaks only less, but he understands more. Okay, but it's not that it's not like that about when you come to Mrs. Bennett. She is actually she is little educated, and you can find that she is a person who is entirely different from Mr. Bennett, and she always takes the values in a very trivial means, and she always wants see, she always talks more, and she always wants her daughters to be married to a wealthy family. That's the only dream she do have. Okay, she wants each of her daughters to be married to a wealthy family, and she want to be for her families in such a way. That's the only dream for her, and for that she will do anything. Okay, she takes any risk in her life to make her children settled, or to make their children wealthy, or to say that to upgrade her daughters to a higher position. And another peculiarity of that particular era is that, that particular age is that in England, really, in those days, the women were not given any, that is, they were not given any assets of their father. Okay, so they don't hire anything from their father. So the only way how a woman can get wealthy or a woman can get settled is that to marry a man who is settled, or to marry a man who has got money. That's the only way a woman could get money. Okay, or see, she's not being brought to the scenario of profession also, and she is not allowed to do any employment or something. And very little, only very little are being found like that. But women, so the only means, the only way how a woman, the easy way, okay, a woman can become a wealthy person or get a good position in the society is that that person get married to a wealthy man. So the only dream for Mrs. Bennett is that she want to get, she want to make her daughters get married to a wealthy person. Okay, now uh, so now let us see who are the five daughters. Now we have seen Mr. and Mrs. Bennett. Now let us see who are the five daughters. The first one is Jane Bennett. Jane Bennett. Okay, she's a well-mannered, highly beautiful girl. Okay, she's sophisticated, sorted. Okay, she's a very presentable girl, and uh, she has got a well sorted personality. So she's the most beautiful girl among these daughters. But she's not the protagonist. Okay, bear in mind, she's not the protagonist. Now, this is the first girl, okay, Jane Bennett. Now then comes Elizabeth Bennett. Elizabeth Bennet. If you're talking about Elizabeth Bennet, she is quite different from her elder sister, that is Jane Bennet. Okay, she is also beautiful, but not presentable as Jane Bennet is. She's not a sophisticated girl. She never makes up her as a sophisticated one, and she is the protagonist. Don't forget her. Elizabeth Bennet is the main character. Whenever somebody asks you about Pride and Prejudice, you should remember Jane Austen. Sorry, you should remember Jane Austen. That's the writer, but the protagonist is Elizabeth Bennet. Okay, and we can find here that Elizabeth Bennet is good. She's worthy to become protagonist because she is a strong-minded girl here, and she is well matured than all other daughters in her family. And she thinks more. She thinks more, and she see, we can find that she is concerned about the things more than all other daughters. Then comes the third one, that is Mary Bennett, and she read lot of books, and she keeps on advising things which are written in the books. That's the character of her. She is a bookish girl. And the fourth one is Kitty Bennett. See, the Mary Bennett and Kitty Bennett, they are very less participating in this novel, so we can't, no need of going much, knowing much about them. They are not being much mentioned. Yes, this Mary Bennett is being mentioned as she reads a lot, and she talks about the he said whatever things are whatever things she read in the books. Okay, then comes Lydia. Lydia is the youngest one, and she is the favorite of her mother, and actually she's been pampered and by her mother, and we can find that she's very immature girl. She's also there in this novel. She's taking part in the novel. In the end, just in the last portion of the end, we can find that she's the one who makes a little bit confusion in the family, and that's why she's been known in this novel. Okay, let's see what is there now. Now I think it's clear for you. That is Mr. and Mrs. Bennett is there. That is the place is that is a countryside that known as Longbourn. There you can find that a family living. That is Mr. and Mrs. Bennett with their five daughters, and you know who are the five? First one is Jane, second Jane Bennett, then Elizabeth Bennett, then Mary Bennett, then Kitty Bennett, and finally Lydia Bennett. Okay, now Netherfield Park is another place, Netherfield Park, okay, which is a little distant about from this particular place, that is Longbourn. And in this Netherfield Park, we can find that a person comes there from London, and a very wealthy person called Mr. Charles. Okay. Mr. Charles Bingley. It is the Bingley family. Bingley, Bingley. Okay. So Mr. Charles Bingley, he and his family comes to Netherfield Park, and they just settles there. He is a wealthy person, and he comes and settles there. He heads his family. He is single. He's so handsome, extremely handsome guy, and he is single and wealthy. Okay, so all the good qualities are there for him to be got attracted towards girls, or and so see, so he's such a good guy, and he has got two sisters, okay, of which first one is married and the other one is unmarried. And the knowledge about married sister is limited in this novel, so no need of going behind her. But the unmarried sister, she is taking part in this novel, and her name is Caroline Bingley. Okay, her name is Caroline Bingley. Then one more character is staying in that particular uh, house along with his family. But he is very important character. His name is he's a close friend of Charles Bingley, and his name is Fitzwilliam Darcy. Fitzwilliam Darcy. Okay, he is the second protagonist of this novel. Okay, so I told you earlier that in Longbourn, there is the family, Mr. and Mrs. Bennett. There, see the protagonist is there in that family. That is Elizabeth. Okay, Elizabeth Bennett. And when coming to this family, which is in Netherfield, a little distance away from Longbourn, you can find that it's a wealthy family, and there, along with Charles, his friend is staying. That is Fitzwilliam Darcy. He is the second protagonist. Okay, don't forget his name. And Darcy has got a sister called Georgiana Darcy who lives in London. Okay? So this much you should know. You should be thorough with this much characters. These characters are coming in. They are taking part in the novel in a very see. Always you can find them. So once more, let me talk. First is Mr. and Mrs. Bennett. Then just keep in mind about Jane, Jane Elizabeth. Then second one is Jane Bennett, Elizabeth Bennett, and yeah, the other two just don't can be concerned. That is Mary and Kitty. Then the Lydia. Okay, and here you can find that Mr. Charles Bingley, his sister, and yeah, his sister. I told you about Caroline. Caroline Bingley. She's coming there. Then comes Fitzwilliam Darcy. Darcy. Okay, and Georgiana is there, the sister of Darcy, who is not here. She is not living in Mansfield Park. She is in London itself. She didn't come here. So now let us go. Let us narrate the story. These are the characters, and now let's go to the story. Now, so when Mrs. Bennet came to know that such a family has settled in Netherfield Park near to their place near to theirs, and when she reads that we are a wealthy family and there's a handsome guy there who is single, the only dream she do have now is that she want any one of her daughter to be get married with this particular person. Okay, so now she is behind this. Okay, in the whole story, the mother, that is Mrs. Bennet, is behind this. And it has been heard that a ball dance. You know, what's a ball dance? See, what's a ball dance? Have you heard about it? It was a routine in the lifestyle of English people, especially those time. That is, you can find if I'm telling couple dance, you maybe understanding. It's a couple dance, okay? A platform where the couple dance will happen. There is a pairs will be dancing there, okay? So that is known as ball dance. So a ball dance is being organized in the town. Okay, so this is a countryside, and a ball dance is being organized in the town, and it's where basically, see, I told you pairs will be dancing there. So now our Mrs. Bennett has got a golden chance to act, isn't it? So what happened is that, and she knew that Mr. Bingley, Charles Bingley, is going to take part, or he is going to, yeah, take part in the party. So she takes her daughters also there, who are Mrs. Bennett. Okay, she takes all her five daughters. So because she don't have any agenda that which one should be got married. The only thing is that if any one of them are being attracted to this Charles Bingley, then the job will be done. Okay, and from there. we can find that from the party, Mr. Charles Bingley happens to dance with our Jane. Okay, I told you Jane is very beautiful. She's very attractive and presenting girl, and he happens to see his attention was caught on Jane Bennett, and he started to and and enchanted with her beauty. Okay, and he dances with her. So Charles Bingley dances with Jane Bennett. And when they are just enjoying on this dance, Charles just recommends to his friend, that is Darcy. I told about Fitzwilliam Darcy. Okay, he just recommends to Darcy to dance with any other people, any other girls. Okay, so actually, he told that he wanted just to dance with Elizabeth. Okay, but what Darcy replies is that Darcy refuses. Okay, refuses by saying some mean things and just telling some mean comments, and which showing that he do have that is a social status, and he never found it worthy to dance with the girl which is in a lower status. Okay, so this was the answer which Darcy has given reply to whom Charles. So this conversation is being overheard by whom? Our Elizabeth. So Elizabeth was so much, she felt very, very much filthy, and she just, what happened is that she had a prejudice in her mind about this person, that is Darcy. Okay, he was such a arrogant, as an arrogant human being. So, yeah, this is a very important portion of the novel where our Pride and Prejudice, the title is giving the reason for the why this particular name Pride and Prejudice is being given to this novel. This answer could be seen in this particular portion. That is, Darcy, a person from a high society, a guy from a high society, he is showing his pride there. Okay, showing his pride. So that is what Elizabeth and Elizabeth gets such a prejudice in her mind with that particular incident. That at that particular stage, Darcy is showing a pride, and with this particular character, but just by judging that character, Elizabeth is taking that character or that personality as a arrogant and a very bad person. Okay, so that is the prejudice of Elizabeth. What do you mean by prejudice? What is a prejudice? Prejudice is nothing but it is a preconceived notion in a person, that is without knowing the real thing, or that is we are a pre-opinion without knowing the real thing, or without getting much evidence about that particular thing, of that particular matter. We are considering something, we are perceiving something and keeping in our mind as such, and we are not just changing our mind. That is known as prejudice. Okay, munvidhi എന്ന് പറയും. In Malayalam, munvidhi. Okay, that is prejudice. So here we can see that Elizabeth is showing her prejudice towards Darcy, and Darcy, she takes Darcy as a very arrogant person. So that starts the grudges again, between Darcy and Elizabeth. Okay, so this is the story. Now the story has started, actually. The story is all about Elizabeth and Darcy. Elizabeth is the protagonist and Darcy is the second protagonist. So they happen to meet, yes, because of all the other reasons, and we should know, along with this, we should know that the most beautiful sister of her is being attracted by the handsome guy, wealthy and handsome guy, that is Mr. Charles Bennett. So Now the story is concentrating on these two people, that is Darcy and Elizabeth Bennett. So now you can find that the see this should here this itself shows the standard or shows the read of Jane Austen, because normally the normal love stories you can find that the most beautiful person will be the hot hero and the most beautiful girl will be the heroine, and the love story between them and all other matters, all the obligations will be seen, and then whatever, and the matter will be concentrated on this beautiful couple, isn't it? But this is not like that. See here, Jane Austen want to talk something more. She is not trying to make a platform for a love story alone. Obviously, she is talking a love story here, but it's the reason is not just to entertain the people with a love story, but she has to talk more about the things. Okay, that is the pride inside the high society people. So Darcy is the embodiment of that pride. Okay, it is through Darcy that she is going to express that particular portion of society, or that she's gonna reflect that particular portion of the society. And through Elizabeth, she is trying to show the prejudice of people. That is, that's also a particular trait of the people. That is, they always have a prejudice about the people, that is, yeah, as he belongs to a high society, he will be very bright person. Okay, and as that person is so, that then it will, I know that it will be so. And if a man is, that is, if a man is behaving in a very bad manner to you, then you are just generalizing every man. And if a woman is performing something, if a woman is doing something which would not be acceptable to anybody, then the whole group of women is being considered, generalized or considered. That's a prejudice, see? And then not only that, see, if you, whenever you see a woman, you'll be taking that woman in such a sense, which how you have taken the whole group. So all these things are prejudice, and you can find many prejudice like this. See, whenever you find a teacher or say teacher in front of you, then you'll be just reading about her just with that 1 hour, and you'll take something. Yeah, this teacher is like this, so and that sir is like that. Yeah, that's a prejudice. And when a neighbor comes, before knowing more about them, before knowing more about a person, you'll be taking them with a particular assumption. That is prejudice. So that is there in the society, which is a very, say, dangerous one, dangerous character of a person, which is being shown, exposed here through Elizabeth. Okay, so you can't say that this particular novel is completely a feminist novel, or Jane Austen is always taking the part of women here. No, she is showing the a character flaw is being shown to both. Okay, that is to women and to man of that particular, that is of 18th century. I have told you that in 18th century people were behind wealth, because wealthy people were told as those who have got status. It told you about industrialization and all, and see how capitalism was just crawling inside the society, the norms of social norms of people, and those who have wealth were considered as the socially high status people. So this is again coming here. Okay, so Darcy do have inside him that he is a wealthy person and he should never mingle with those who are in the lower strata. That's not good. So that's the pride inside him. That is there inside him. But he is a good guy. We can find in the later part of the novel that he is a good guy. But Elizabeth is taking him with that particular, with that single trait in him. She is just generalizing that person and taking him as a very wrong person to deal with. Okay, so this is the grudges which happens among this Darcy and Elizabeth, and now let us see what is more going. Let us see what is happening more. So after the ball party, so in the ball party, we have seen that Mr. Charles Bennett is getting attracted to Jane. Sorry, Mr. Charles Bingley is getting attracted to Jane Bennett, and they falls in love. Both of them falls in love each other. And after the ball party, the next day, see, the sister Caroline Bingley reads this, and she understands this fascination between them, and she wants to make bring the things more easy. So what she has done is that she writes an invitation to whom Jane Bennett for dinner by sending a letter to them. See, in those times, see, there's no mobile phones or there is no telephone. So the only means of communication is just by writing letters. Okay, so here, Caroline Bingley is writing, sending a letter to the Bennett family, inviting Jane Bennett for the dinner to their house. Just think about Mrs. Bennett. She'll be so overwhelmed with happiness. See, this is happening, but see, she's a very intelligent person who Mrs. Bennett. So she decides to send Jane, and as she is more intelligent and she want to see make her dream come true. So that what she is doing is that she puts a plan by sending Jane on a horse without a carriage. See, in those times, the ladies, especially women, were sent in carriage because there will be for carriage there will be a roof, and we know that the weather of England is not too good. The cold will be there. So and so what happens is that she sends Jane on a horse alone with the impression that see with an intention that see that was a rainy day. The weather was not too good, and she knows that Jane, when exposed to such a bad weather, she will get ill, and she wants Jane to get ill when she reaches Netherfield, so that she could be retained there. She could be allowed to stay back there in Netherfield for a few days, and will be sent back after getting better better with her health. Okay, so this was the intention of her mother. Just think about a mother like that. Okay, so she sends her on a horse, and everything happens as she wishes, as she expects, as she plans. It rains in between when Jane goes to Netherfield, and Jane reaches there with all her dresses wet, and her condition gets worse, and her health becomes. She causes cold, and her condition was not too good when she reaches there. And after the dinner, she's been asked to stay back there till she gets better, till her health gets better. Okay, so Elizabeth grows concerned. Now Jane is staying there. Okay, Jane is staying where Netherfield. Okay, in the house of Mr. Charles Bingley. And what happens is that Elizabeth, she grows concerned about her sister. Her sister her sister has gone to another house, and nobody is there to attend her. She's concerned about her health, and she can't stand here. And with her personal opinion, she just goes to that house and to just visit her sister over there, and to just know about her more about her health and all. Okay, and from there what happens is that Elizabeth is invested to stay there along with her sick sister. So such a good place, such a good family, that is the Bingley family. They says her to just stay back with her sister, and so that it will be a good help for her sister. And likewise, who our Elizabeth stays there in that house along with her sister Jane Bennett. Now, just suppose Elizabeth Bennett and Jane Bennett both are in the house of whom? That is in the house of Mr. Bingley, which is in Netherfield. Okay, and we know that Darcy is there living in this house. Okay, and as said, eventually Elizabeth and Darcy again meets from there, and they when they meet, we know that was the relation which was built in their mind when they met first. A grudge has been formed, isn't it? So again, when they meet, they are exchanging many bitter words between them, and they again the grudge is increasing. Okay, and so why is this happening? Whenever they meet, the situation is getting vulgar and vulgar. Because inside the mind, Darcy has got pride inside him, which is very much unliked by whom Elizabeth. And Elizabeth has got a strong prejudice. Her prejudice is growing. Okay, because Darcy is showing his pride more and more, and her prejudice is growing more and more inside. And due to this pride and prejudice, this relationship is getting worse and worse and worse. Okay, so Darcy, but as this situation is going on, as the days are going on, Darcy gets say, fascinated with Elizabeth, and he starts liking her from his inner mind. Okay, though he has a pride inside him, he likes Elizabeth, and his see and that he's fond of her, and but he never shows it. Okay, he or the pride inside him never allows to show it. That is the thing. So there's such a situation is there. It's a very wonderful part to read. It's very interesting to read. So if you're reading in a whole way, you can just enjoy it. Okay, do read it. So now, what is that? Caroline. Caroline, who is Caroline? The sister of Mr. Charles Bingley. So, Caroline Bingley, she starts she starts to understand the relation, or she starts to understand that Darcy is getting fascinated, or Darcy is getting attracted towards Elizabeth, but Elizabeth is not reciprocating. Okay, the prejudice in her is so much hard that she never reciprocates this love. Okay, but Darcy is not showing it openly, but there is love towards her, and this is being understood by whom? Caroline. But this time, see, Caroline is the person who understands the mind, I think, especially of men, because she understood the mind of Charles Bingley, and she invited Jane to her house, and now she could understand the feeling of Darcy towards whom? Elizabeth. But here the thing is different, because she starts to dislike Elizabeth because Caroline is loving Darcy. Okay, so there's a triangle there. So this particular thing is there. So Caroline starts to dislike Elizabeth, and she don't want Elizabeth to stay more at the whole house. So she's just disturbed. Now, meanwhile, another character can be seen here, that is Mr. Collins. Mr. Collins. And in Longbourn, that is in the place where the family of Mr. and Mrs. Bennett is staying, there comes the distant relative of this Bennett family, that is Mr. Collins. Okay, so Mr. Collins is coming to visit the Bennett family, and see it to the Longbourn. And Mr. Bennett, Mr. Collins, actually he is a cousin, a distant cousin of these girls, that is Elizabeth, Jane, and all. Okay. And the thing, as I told you earlier, the condition of, let's say, at that time in English society, women won't get any inherited property. Okay, I told you earlier, they won't get any inherited property, and the properties are being given only for men. So, as Bennett is having only daughters, the whole wealth of Bennett will be hired by the only one and only man in the family. That is the, though he's a distant cousin, he's the only one higher in the family. That is Mr. Collins. So the whole wealth of Bennett is Mr. Bennett is gonna get to whom? To Mr. Collins. And Mr. Collins is a single person, and so he comes and visits them. He knows that these all these the children of Mr. Bennett is daughters, so it's he who's getting to gonna get the whole thing. And the problem with Mr. Bennett is visiting them with an intention. The thing is that sorry, not Mr. Bennett, Mr. Collins. See, the thing is that Mr. Collins is working under an employer called Lady Catherine. Okay, so Lady Catherine is offering Mr. Collins some the position of a dean of the company only if he gets married. Okay, he's single, he is unmarried. So Lady Catherine is ready to give him a position of dean if he gets married. So now, actually, Mr. Collins has got a short notice to get married. Okay. So the only way he thinks what is the easy way, and the only way then he thinks about his five cousins or the five daughters of Mr. Bennett, and he finds it easy to get married to any one of them, and he comes and visits the family in such an intention, and he approaches to the family by selecting Jane. Okay, he thinks about Jane that just because she's the eldest one, and he selects her and proposes see the marriage to her. But what Mrs. Bennett, she don't want to lose our Charles. Okay, so Mrs. Bennett tells that no, 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 no. See, actually, our Jane Bennett is being she's about to get engaged to Mr. Charles. Okay, who's in Netherfield. So you may select any others from the family. Now the next selection is Elizabeth. Okay. Now okay. So actually, Mrs. Bennett is totally ignorant about all these things which are happening in the house. That is about Darcy and all. Anyway. So she thinks that yeah. Anyway, the whole wealth of Bennett is gonna get to Collins, and so let it be Elizabeth. Okay, so Mr. Collins, he proposes to Elizabeth, but Elizabeth just refuses, rejects the proposal, and because just she doesn't like him. Okay, so just think here the girls are much improved, upgraded. That is telling their wishes about their marriage, and see they are not standing with the arranged marriage. Now they are just telling their wishes that if they do like the person to whom they are getting married, they can just reject them. Also, all these places are given for women in this novel. Okay. So thus Mr. Collin has been rejected. So um, yeah, happens is that Mr. Collins he keep on recommending, he keep on telling, advising whom Elizabeth telling that see I'm gonna get a good job. See I'll get a good job if I get married, and after the marriage, see I'm gonna get all the whole wealth of your father also. So see I'll be a wealthy settled person. It may be a right choice to marry me and all, but again, Elizabeth is clearly refusing, the whole proposal. Okay, by this time, Caroline writes, so now the whole family returns. Okay, by this time, see, the Jane gets better, and the two sisters, they are getting back to their house, and so the things are going on. So by this time, Caroline, she's disturbed. I told you she's disturbed about the relationship of this Darcy and our Elizabeth. So because not Elizabeth is not reciprocating, but Darcy is liking her. So this has been read by Caroline, and Caroline don't want the things to go in such a way. So she writes a letter to Jane, telling that they are moving to London forever, and Charles is gonna marry Georgina Darcy, the sister of Darcy. Okay, the sister of Fitzwilliam Darcy. So this letter is a great twist, actually, that the whole sisters or the whole Bennett family is being, see, they are being they are being put into a great do, and so everything, every wishes and every dreams of Mrs. Bennet and everything is coming to an end. Okay, so Elizabeth reads this letter once more, and as she has got a prejudice about Darcy, she feels filthy about all these things and about the matter, and she feels that she suspects Darcy. And not suspecting, she believes that Darcy is behind all these things because he has got a wrong prejudice inside him that they are from a good family, they are a wealthy family of a high status, and it's not good to see, she has heard such comment from him from the ball, so she is just connecting the whole things. Okay, actually, it is not Darcy. Actually, it is Caroline who is doing all these things. But the prejudice inside whom? The prejudice inside Elizabeth is making her to feel so, and thus the prejudice inside her grows more and more strong. Okay, she completely hates Darcy inside from her inner mind. So the things are like this. Now let us see, a new person is getting into a new character is getting into the novel. He is very important character. He is the antagonist of the character. You can see, call him as the villain of the character. Sorry, he is the antagonist of the novel. You can call him as a villain. Okay, he is George Wickham. George Wickham. Okay, and we can see that he is a military officer, and he comes to Longbourn, and he happens to meet Elizabeth, and he gets fascinated with her, and he gets fond of Elizabeth, and Elizabeth also starts liking our George Wickham. See, we know that he is the antagonist and a villain, but Elizabeth doesn't know that. So she just reads him in a right way, and she okay, this is a wrong perception from the part of whom? From the part of Elizabeth, though she is well matured, though she is intelligent. See, such a mistake is happening in her life about the serious thing which is going to happen in her life, that she is going to select uh, George Wickham as her partner. She starts liking him, and so the relationship between George Wickham and Elizabeth is growing now. Okay, and George, actually, when George and Darcy are met together, say some that at that situation, say that they had a difficult and troubled relation with them. So this has been that is the George Wickham and Darcy. They had a troubled relation between them. So this has been read or noticed by Elizabeth. Okay, So she's just asking about it, and George is giving the explanation in such a way that, see, he and George and his father, they used to work in the estate of Mr. Bingley, and Mr. Bingley promised George and his father the heritage that, which they could get from Bingley. But once when George's father dies, what happens is that the Darcy he interferes and he gets rid of this George from the estate. So just see the story which was cooked up by George, and the story is very much giving nourishment to whom to the prejudice of Jane. Sorry, not Jane. To the prejudice of Elizabeth. Okay, so which adds more, which makes more the prejudice more stronger inside her. Okay, and so she just starts deadly hating home our Darcy. Okay, and in the will actually George is cooking up such a story. The things are not like that, but it was easy to to convince Elizabeth in such a way because she had such a prejudice inside her already. Now, meanwhile, Mr. Collins, okay, actually he has got a short notice from Lady Catherine, so he has to marry anyone. Okay, so what he does is that, you see, he married Charles. Sorry, no, it is Charlotte Lucas. Charlotte Lucas, who is the friend of Elizabeth. Charlotte Lucas. Okay, it's a lady, and she is the friend of Elizabeth. So Elizabeth hears this news, and she's so happy to listen that, yeah, her own cousin has married her friend, his close friend, and she just decides to go and meet them. Okay, so now Elizabeth is gonna meet Mrs. Collins and Charlotte Lucas, and so now she goes there to their province, and from there she happens to meet whom? The Lady Catherine, the employer of Mr. Collins. Okay, and from Lady Catherine, she could understand that Elizabeth discovers that Lady Catherine is the aunt of Darcy. Okay, and from her and from the so what happens is that Lady Catherine, she as Elizabeth has came there, and Lady Catherine is organizing a party to welcome Elizabeth. That is, it's the relative of her employee, so she is organizing a party, and in this party Darcy is also taking part. Okay, and after a while, so Darcy realizes, so by this time, Darcy realizes the love towards Elizabeth, and now he wants to propose her. Okay, so he's in a stage of proposing her, but his pride is there. So he has got a great confusion because he is not able to express his love just because of the pride inside him. So that's why whenever they met in the that is in the so far when they met they couldn't make a good relationship. Okay, so, so from this party also, he decides to propose Elizabeth. But when he proposes it, when he puts it into action, it becomes in an awkward manner. Okay, the bride inside him makes it in an awkward manner, in such a way that he is offering a favor to Elizabeth by proposing her. Okay, again the things are going very in a very bad stage because we know what is the impression of our Elizabeth on Darcy now. So it is in a highest position. The prejudice is in the highest position. She is very much disliking him. So Elizabeth confronts Darcy that how her sister's marriage got cancelled, and about his wrongful deed which he has done to George Wickham and all. See, she confirms all these things to Darcy. So Darcy is, see, at first he couldn't answer anything. He just listens everything, and he understands that what is happening. Okay, he could understand, yeah, what the things are, how the things are moving on. Now Darcy is the person who's trying to untie all these things. Okay, so now he understood that, yeah, Elizabeth has got deep hatred towards Darcy inside him due to some reasons like this, and she believes that her sister's marriage is being broken, okay, just because of him. And again, George Wickham has just uh, uh, twisted her mind towards such a that is such a wrong notion. Okay, so all these things is being understood by Darcy, and what he do is that he never talks to her, he never replies to her, but he opts to write a letter. Okay, he writes a letter and gives this letter to Elizabeth, convincing that he is not the person who's the reason why the marriage between Charles Bingley and Jane Bennett is being say, broken. So he's not responsible for the broken engagement of her sister. And again, he convinces through this letter that George Wickham, he has just cooked up a story like that. Actually, the problem between the problem between this Darcy and George Wickham is that George Wickham, in the past, he tried to elope with his elope means he tried to run away with his 15 years old sister, and this is why he fired at him. Okay, so this was this letter actually could convince Elizabeth. Okay, it was such a good letter, and the prejudice formed by Elizabeth towards Darcy is now getting a little bit gradually. It is being released or changing. Okay, so that particular feeling of that prejudice is getting deteriorated in the mind of Elizabeth, and we can find that Elizabeth starts liking Darcy a little bit. Okay, now another character, Mr. and Mrs. Gradiner. Another characters, Mr. and Mrs. Gradiner. See, I told you many characters are there. It comes in between. So just put together all these characters and write a list and make a tree and or something like that. So you may find it easy to remember, and by just seeing, just write the relationship of them towards the Darcy and Elizabeth and all. Okay. Now, so the characters are Mr. and Mrs. Gradiner. So here, these people, they are the uncle and aunt of whom is Elizabeth, of the family, Bennett family, Bennett sisters. Okay, so this is Elizabeth. They invites Elizabeth, who Mr. and Mrs. Gradiner. They invite Elizabeth to stay with them. They are staying in an estate of Darcy actually, because Elizabeth didn't know about it, and they are just asking her to come and stay with them in their house. Okay, and as Elizabeth takes this offer and she goes there, and from there we can find that see Darcy, he's trying to now he has see both of them are changing their mind now. Darcy, his pride is getting deteriorated, and see the prejudice inside Elizabeth is also getting changed. So we can find that the whole grudge between these two people are getting softened now. Okay. Mm, so Elizabeth, so Darcy now tries to impress Elizabeth and by taking care of their uncle and aunt. See, actually they are staying in the estate of Darcy. So he now goes to them and takes care of them and shows. So he knows that he want to show his good parts to impress Elizabeth because she had a prejudice about him and all those things we know. So now he is in a position to express his love to impress Elizabeth openly. Okay, all his pride is being washed out. Now, and by this time, so this is happening. This is a very cool time of the novel. You can enjoy it while reading. So that's the love, the expression of love and all. Okay, and Elizabeth is taking it, and this change is happening, and also cool place. Okay, now by by this time, what happened is that Elizabeth gets an information, a very important information about her family, that is about her small sister Lydia. I talked about her earlier, isn't it? Lydia, the younger sister of Elizabeth. See, we talked about her. She's the youngest sister, and she's a little bit pampered by the mother, and she's very immature. She talks whatever she likes. She thinks very little and puts into action more. So that's the character of Lydia. And again, obviously, she's younger one, and her age is too small, and so maybe that may be the reason she's so immature. Anyway, and so she is just introduced to the novel. Her matter is introduced to the novel by Jane Austen. Okay, so now, so far we have seen, so see, the main topic, that is the Pride and Prejudice, is being dealt with, and it was being expressed through two main characters, that is Elizabeth and Darcy, and we have seen that if these two the types of traits, that is pride and prejudice, is very dangerous if it is there in the mind of a people, or if it is there in the society. It will never make good relationships. Okay, it will just create grudges between people. It will just distance people. It won't make people to get together. And so all these things, and we have found that how we could get rid of pride and how we could get rid of prejudice. So open talking. One second. Going on. Yeah. So the open discussions and openly talking will make people to wash off all these unwanted things in their mind, and only plain mind, an open plain mind could accept the things without any prejudice, accept the things in the real way, or otherwise, if you are keeping prejudice inside you, you may be misguided. Okay, so serious problems or serious things will happen in your life. See what happened for very mature and very intelligent, or very mature and intelligent Elizabeth. See, she is actually, though she's intelligent, she had that prejudice inside her mind, and she took a great decision of her life. Just, and it was a great mistake. She has mistaken our George Wickham to be a good person, and she has mistaken a good person, that is Darcy, to be a bad person. So this such decision problems may occur in our life if we have prejudice inside us. So this is a very good social satire, a social lashing of which our Jane Austen has done. Okay, so it's quite good novel. Now let us see what's happening. So now as the things are getting better, a new problem is getting inside the say the story. See, I have told you the novel. It is all about the real life of people, the realistic. Always the novelist tries to make the story realistic, to find that this to feel the reader that yeah, he is actually experiencing the life. Okay, if it is not realistic, then what happens, we'll get lost from the concentration from the novel. Okay, we won't be able to enjoy it more. So now next thing is, that is Elizabeth gets a news that Lydia, that is Lydia, the lower sister of Bennett family, has ran away with George Wickham. Just see what is happening. George Wickham has eloped home. Lydia, the small girl. So now the things are, you see, clear. See, you go back to Darcy's comment on Wickham, George Wickham. He's a person always attracted to small girls, I think. Because he eloped Darcy's sister. Now he is getting eloped. Now he is eloping home or Lydia, who's too young. Okay, and the thing is not that. See, it is not just confined to that. See, he is the lady. See, sorry, George Wickham has eloped home Lydia, and he is referring to. See, he says that who refers to marry them until and unless they pay a good amount of money to George Wickham. See, he's telling that he has taken, see, Lydia ran away from her house with George Wickham, and now George Wickham is telling that he will only marry this girl if they pay a good amount of money which he is asking. Just think about the matter. So money is playing everywhere. This is the situation of 18th century in England. See, as we know that what is industrialization. See, all the machines are working, the people are the machines. Okay, so everything is becoming mechanized. So, and the mind it's also is getting mechanized. The people are losing the values of nations. People are losing the moral values of society. People are losing every needs of society, and they just want money in any means. So this is the situation of 18th century of England, which is being imbibed or which is being absorbed by our by the writers like Jane Austen, and we have seen Henry Fielding. All these guys are, or if it is about Samuel Richardson, these guys are just doing the job in such a way that they are reflecting the society, the social issues through their novel. So here also we can find that the issue is money. Okay, so by reading this particular situation, Elizabeth is facing a big issue, and not only Elizabeth, the whole Bennett family they are facing a great issue. And see, think about Mrs. Bennett. See, she was up to what will happen to her. See, she had a great dream of sending her children to a good position, sending her children getting married to them, making them to get married to a good wealthy persons and all. Now all her dreams or everything has getting, you see, many problems are being encountered by her. Now the biggest problem is the eloping of her smallest girl before the marriage of all other sisters. And again, that's a social issue. Then again, eloping is another social issue. Then another thing is that see, another thing is that as she is being eloped, nobody will marry her. But this guy who ran away with her, he will only marry her if the amount is being paid. See, all these confusions are there now. But by the time Mr. and Mrs. Gardiner, the uncle and aunt of Elizabeth, they informs Mr. Bennett's family that they could find Lydia and the money is being paid by them. Okay, they paid the money and no need of worrying more. Now Lydia is safe. Now George Wickham will marry her. She will have to face the consequences because George Wickham is not a, but as she has run away with her, anyway, she has to marry him. Okay, anyway, the things are settled now. The money is being paid by our Mr. and Mrs. Gardiner, the uncle and aunt of Elizabeth. Okay, so But later, when Elizabeth meets our Lydia, she could discover from Lydia's speech is that it is Darcy who has paid the money. Okay, and in the same, he doesn't want to disclose it, and that's why Mr. and Mrs. Gardiner told that they have paid it. Okay, so this particular character of Darcy, actually, this incident was a good one for washing off completely the prejudice about Darcy inside the mind of Elizabeth. Okay, now Elizabeth starts to love him. Okay, and now she's much impressed on Darcy. And what happens is that Darcy also convinces Charles Bingley about the whole thing, and Charles is now in a position to marry Jane Bennett also, and now the things are very good. Okay, so Mr. Charles Bingley is gonna marry Jane Bennett, and Darcy and Elizabeth, they are reconciled and they are going to get married. Okay, so now the dream of our Mrs. Bennett has come to true. A little problem is there just about Lydia, but the two girls are now very safe in the hands of Charles and Darcy. Okay, so this is the end, and in the end, we can see that the Pride and Prejudice. Okay, the Pride and Prejudice of both the people are completely washed off. So this is the reality. Okay, this is the story. I think it is completely understood. See, I was explaining the story in such a way that in between every wherever I get chance, I have criticized the story so that it will be easy for you to understand. If I'm just telling the story and then telling the criticism, then it will you can't recollect the situations. Okay, it will be confusing for you to recollect the situation. So I have told the story by criticizing it. Okay, so I think you have got the complete essence of the story with the critical sides and everything. So please read the story once more, and when you read it, keep in mind that you are thinking of all these critical comments which we have put forward, and so, what is here? Actually, the title of the story. It may be asked, see, just come and appreciate the title of the story, Pride and Prejudice of Jane Austen. If such a question is being asked, see, how can you answer? See, actually, the whole novel is all about the Pride and Prejudice, isn't it? The Pride and Prejudice are the two traits which we can see, the two type of characters which are two qualities, bad qualities in people which we can see in the society. See, this can be not only in 18th century, this Pride and Prejudice could be seen everywhere, see in every stages of life. Even now we can find, see, there are people still who are taking pride inside them, and they are mingling with people with a pride with them, and this makes a great wall. A great wall is being formed between the people whom we are mingling with. If we are attempting with a pride inside us, with a ego with us. Okay, and another thing is prejudice. Prejudice always it becomes, see, we know that in our day to day life, it's a very, very common bad quality which we can find in the society, isn't it? See, always it is there in the society. That's why the society is getting worse and worse. Many times we find many killing, even murders, many problems, confusions, many fights. All these things are happening just because of this pride and prejudice between people. Okay, so such this is a very good concept or theme which Jane Austen has put forward. So it's not just a feminist type of just see, don't take it as a and very say very trivial one. It is so good in theme, and it is something which conveys, which corrects the social problems of the society. Okay, so now let us see some more comments on this particular novel. Okay, so as I told you earlier, chronologically, if you are telling that Jane Austen belonged to the Romantic period, that is the 19th century. We told about 19th century in our poetry classes. So Jane Austen is living in the Romantic period, and uh, but her realism and the balance in construction sets the time period of the 18th century. Always, most of her novels are set in the 18th century. And she goes back to the society, and I think she wants to start from the beginning to show that how the society is being guided, and how the society is being getting worse from that starting point onwards. So she is tracing back to 18th century. Now, another thing is that see the pride. Don't forget that the pride is the who is the embodiment of pride. The embodiment of pride is Mr. Fitzwilliam Darcy. Okay, his full name. The full name of Darcy is, for the convenience, we have called him Darcy. Darcy, isn't it? His full name is Fitzwilliam Darcy. Okay, and he is the man of pride in this novel. And who is Prejudice here? Prejudice is Elizabeth. Okay, so these two are the protagonists of the novel. Don't forget that. Then, then we can see that this novel is said to be a satirical and social status, and the expectation of women during the 18th century could be seen here. Yeah, it is satirizing the social status of people. I have told it many times in between, so it will be a repetition for you if I'm saying say anyway. And again, you can find that the women in the society of 18th century is being put forward here through this novel in a very beautiful manner. So you can find that how the things were going on in the society as a first-hand experience you can experience through the novel. That is it. Okay. So it is what Jane Austen also want to do. Then the main theme, if somebody asks you what is the main theme of Pride and Prejudice, please note down the main theme is love between, though the theme is, you can say that the peripheral theme, if it is being read by a small child or a, say, in your earlier stage of your life, you can find that it's just a love story between Elizabeth and Darcy. Okay, but more than that, it shows the reputation, class, courtship, all these things are also coming there as a theme. Okay, the major theme, I will discuss it later. It's there. I will discuss about the theme there. I'm just mentioning the theme here. Then another peculiarity of the novel. So when you are being asked to write about the novel, so you have to mention. See, whenever you are writing, answering any question from this novel, you have to just mention about, see, I told you about the era, this particular era with a age which is being set in this novel, that is 18th century. And just for a sake, for the to express the knowledge, you can say that Jane Austen actually she lived in the 19th century or the romantic period. Okay, and this particular novel is being set in the period of Georgian era. And so, and another peculiarity is of this novel, and you can mention just the theme of the theme of the novel. Then you can mention that you see what is pride. The title of the novel could be mentioned there. See, any question is being asked, you have to put all these points there. Then you can see that this whole story is being written in the third person narrative. Okay, the whole novel is being written in the third person narrative, and you can also comment that this whole genre is a comedy of manners. Okay, the whole genre is the comedy of manners. It is written in the it can be called as a comedy of manners. Now let us see the social environment. It should be also mentioned in your answer. Okay, the social environment in which the particular novel is being set. So it was particularly stratified. You can find a stratified society. So this is the speciality of 18th century English society. That is, as there were stratas of classes. Okay, there was an aristocratic strata, then middle class, lower class, then working class, and all. Okay, so that was stratified. You can use the word stratified. So the whole society was stratified, and people had a mind of that they are in a particular strata of the society, and so they could mingle with such people, or only they could mingle only with the people in their own strata only, or that is known as the status. Okay, the status of their own. Then that's what this particular notion, this particular mental notion which is there in the society, it could be seen in the character of our Darcy, the protagonist Darcy. See, actually talking about him, we know that he's such a good guy. He has all the goodness inside him of a human being, isn't it? He's a person with goodness inside him, but see, he is being mistaken as a person of arrogance and as a person of ill character and all. So, isn't it, by a lady like Elizabeth? So the reason is that inside his mind, the social notion of stratification is being subjected. Okay, he's been subjected to the social stratification, and inside his mind, he has got a pre-notion that he belongs to a high category or he belongs to a particular strata, and so it is not good, it is not worthy to mingle with a person who is coming from low category like or a middle category like Elizabeth. So this is the problem. Again, this is the main issue why this whole novel so why Darcy is being taken as a in a wrong way by Elizabeth, and how the whole novel is being constructed. Okay, so that is a social environment which is making Darcy to become so, or we can say that through Darcy, the character of Darcy, John Austen is trying to reflect this particular aspect of social environment. Okay, and so this division were there, and it's been rooted, and we can find that this class division is been rooted in the family relationships also, the family connection and wealth and all. Okay, then Austen is often critical of the preconception and prejudices of the upper class people. See, upper class society. See, more of us have a prejudice about the upper class of people. So those who are highly wealthy, we have got a prejudice. See, oh, those people are highly wealthy people. How can we mingle with them? See, they'll be having a See, we can't get into their mind because they are in a very high position. Just think about a wealthy person now in our society. Just think about, see, well, let us think about our, who is that? Our, yeah, Yusuf Ali. Take Yusuf Ali. See, can you mingle with him? Can you go and just, do you feel any problem to go and talk with them? Or just to freely mingle with him? If so, you have got a prejudice inside you that no, see, he is a wealthy person, he is in a high social status. And how can I go and mingle with him? Because the prejudice inside you is the wall, not that he is a wrong person. So this is the problem. See, actually, actually, Jane Austen is trying to see that people were stratified, and this stratification is not allowing to mingle among them. So they are confined to their own status or their own social status or their own levels of status, and they are just confined to that. They are not trying to mingle between. Okay, so it's a serious thing which was happening in the society. So it comes in the matter of marriage, it comes in the matter of anything, if it is any other mingling, okay, especially marriage. Okay, so people are very much concerned if a person is being married from a higher society or higher level to a lower level at all. See, what is this level actually? See, only actually the thing is that the parameter, or we can find say that the definition of this status is leading to be to the wealth. That is the problem. Wealth is being defined as the social status. That's the problem. Okay, so such is the thing. Now let us say that another thing which she is trying is she distinguishes the internal. She distinguishes between the internal merit and the external merits of the class. Yeah. Hello. Yeah. Is there any problem? Am I audible?
No, continue.
I'm not audible.
Hello? Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Is it okay?
Yes, Aditi.
Okay. Fine. Okay. Fine. Let's continue. So the social environment we told. Then another thing which Jane Austen is trying to do is that she is distinguishing between the internal merit and the external merit. Okay, what do you mean by the internal merit? The virtue of a person inside him. That is the internal merit. Okay, virtue means nanma. Okay, that virtue of a person inside him. Ralda nanma, that is mentally what a person is. Okay, what a type of person is he in his inside mind. Then external merit means the class and positions, all these things. So here two things are being dealt with. We can find that is as she talks about the class, as she talks about the position of wealth, all these things are being told. Along with that, so that are the external merits in the society. Okay, so when all along with these things, that is the external merits, she is concentrating on the internal merit also. That is how a person is virtue inside him, the virtue qualities of a person inside him, the inner qualities of a person is also being it's also being depicted here very beautifully. So we can find that Jane Austen is trying to distinguish between the inner qualities and the external qualities of a society. Okay, the inner quality means the inner mind, the mental status of people, the mental issues of the people, the behavioral problems of the people, all these, the personal problems of the people could be told as the inner problems. Okay, then the external issues are or the external matters are that of the position of possession. Okay, not position, possession of wealth, that is how far they can possess wealth. Then then we can say the class stratification. Then okay, the position in a society, all these things are the external matters. Okay, so both these things are distinguished, and these things are being presented here in this novel in a balanced manner, so that we could get the complete essence of that a particular generation. Okay, now next thing which she is trying to explain is the woman. Okay, women could only accomplish the goal of a goal of acquisition of wealth through successful marriage. I told you that is marriage is only the means through which women could acquire wealth. Okay, so that was the condition at that time. Okay, women were not much exposed to the professional life and education and all. So the only opening for them to become a wealthy person is that if a girl is getting married to a wealthy person, then she is well settled and well happy. Right, because man is the person who has to look after the family. That's the only notion which was set inside the mind of the people. Okay, so it's all these responsibilities are being endowed to man only. Okay, they are the persons who have to bring up all this, all those concerns, that is earning and finding money and meeting the needs of the family. All these things are the headaches of that is man only. So he gets a good. So just think about them in the society. He gets a good choice, or he gets a good partner only if he has wealth with him, if he could earn much. See, all the other qualities of education or the qualities of goodness in him, the qualities of all the attitude, the better attitude or the inner mind, interior qualities, all these things are not at all a parameter or not at all, sorry, not at all a quality which is being counted, accountable qualities of a person, human being. Okay, so he is worth if he has got wealth, and a woman could get wealth if she is married to a such a man. So this was the social situation. Now I think it has changed a lot. Actually, women could understand the pain of working and earning now because they are also up to earning. So they could understand their headaches and how far men are being exposed to many issues when they are working, and all these things could be understood by women. And also now men are helping women in households and all this to bring up the family, all the family issues, the children, the issues of the children, all these things are being interfered by men. See, in those times the children were not taken care by their fathers. They are not concerned about such things, the bringing up of them, the corrections in the children, the character molding of the children. All these things were not headaches of men. Okay, it was just the headache of women alone. So father is it is a higher level in this in the it was placed in a higher level in the family, and he is unreachable for the children. So every reachable, they are accessible only to their mother or the women in the family. This was the condition. So now that the father and mother, they are together bringing up their family, and together they are bringing, loving their children, thinking about their children, planning about their children, and see, all these things are happening in our life, isn't it? It's well and good now. All are getting educated. So now we can find a society like this just because this literature has worked a lot behind this. Literature is the technique, or literature is the instrument which has molded our society into such a place worth for living for both men and women. I think there are more to improve, obviously, because it's reality, it is society, it will happen because many people, type of people are living together, so it will happen, the issues will be there. But we can find that if you are tracing chronologically, if you are tracing, we can find that now it's a better place to live for both of them. And now more psychological studies are happening, so people are getting counseled and we are getting good understanding, and we are now in a position to understand each other of the personality of people and all. Okay, but this particular situation is being found just because actually not only because of literature, but we should say that literature the literature, not only English literature, most of the literature, I can say that every literature has, every genre of literature has worked a lot it has contributed a lot to the society to mold it and bring it to work and bring it to upgrade it to a worthy position. Okay, so such we know that, see, the such novels like Pride and Prejudice, it's a very good novel. If somebody reads it, see, nobody will retain the Pride and Prejudice inside them. So it's such a good novel. Now, another notion or another concept which Jane Austen is putting forward is marriage. Okay, notion about marriage in the society, and actually it is being encouraged for see, marriage is being encouraged for money, isn't it? Marriage is being encouraged for money and social standing. So here we know, if you are taking the character in order to explain this particular point, you can see that Hannah, please mute your Hannah, Hannah, please mute. Yeah. So again, so marriage. See, if you want to explain this particular point in your answer paper, you can take the character Mrs. Bennett. Okay, we know that Mrs. Bennett, what she's up to, what she's trying in this novel. She's keeping on trying to make her children settled, and she wants to see. Actually, it's a concern of a mother. We can understand, but what she's trying, she's not looking for the character of the person. She doesn't know that, see, actually, fortunately, Charles and Darcy are good. But see, if the things are in a wrong way, see, if the money was with George Wickham, with a very bad character inside him, see what will be see what will be the future of their daughters. So this, see, everything, uh, so such a point could be explained through Mrs. Bennett, that how she is planning her the future of of her family, the future of her daughters, and how she's thinking the safety of her daughters. She's equating it to the wealth only. She's not concerned with the character of the person to whom she is trying to trying her children to get married. Okay, now let us discuss on the theme of the novel. Okay, so far we were discussing about the social issues which our Jane Austen was putting forward through her novel Pride and Prejudice. So all these things should come there in your answer sheet. Okay, this is not just to enjoy the class, which I am just telling all these things. See, everything should come in your answer sheets. So, see, I have told you, whenever you are answering, you should answer to a level of a master's. Now you are going to become masters in literature. So you have to upgrade yourself. The way of answering should be upgraded to that level. See, it should not be in a way how you are answering in your plus two or in your 10th or in your degree level. Okay, you have to upgrade your way of answering. Critical comment should be there. Comment on the social status should be there. Comment on the see, on the writer novel should be there. Comment on the era or the age, or the literary age should be written there. The political issues should be written, and obviously the theme should be criticized. See, all these things should come there. Just writing the story alone won't make the thing. Okay, you won't get good marks there. You can't pass the examination, because the evaluators will be looking for the critical comments in your answer sheet. Okay, so it's very, very, very important. That's why we are spending much time on this critical comments. And when I was talking about the story, when I was narrating the story, throughout the story, I was commenting on the critical appreciation. So please don't neglect it. Write it in your answer sheets whenever you're answering. Okay. Now come to the theme of the novel. So What is the theme of the novel? Actually, it's the journey towards self-awareness and self-knowledge. You can write it like that. The theme is the journey. It is a journey, isn't it? Journey, travel, yatra. Okay, it is a journey towards the self-awareness and self-knowledge. It's a good thing. So we have seen that who is getting self-awareness? Both the people, that is Darcy and Elizabeth, both are getting a self-awareness. When they are checking the other person, when they started to check the other person, the person before them, the things were going wrong. When they started to assess themselves, when they started to do self awareness, then only the things went good, isn't it? So they felt that, yeah, I do have a pride inside me. That's the problem, why the things are going wrong. And if and Elizabeth could understand that, yeah, I do have a prejudice inside me, that's why I'm taking always Darcy in a wrong way. Okay, so that is the self awareness which the characters are getting. Then self knowledge. Okay, knowledge about oneself. So this is the real theme which you can write. That is, it is a journey towards self-awareness and self-knowledge. And again, the theme is the complemented by other. Obviously, the theme is complemented by other themes like love, marriage, social status, and wealth. All these are complementary themes. Okay, the main theme is the journey towards the self-awareness and self-knowledge. Okay, and the complementary themes which you can find is love, marriage, social status, and wealth. Okay, so I think it's a fine. We have consolidated the theme in a good manner. Now you just write good, make good essays with all these points inside it. Okay. Then comes now we can. Then another thing is that we can find that in most of the novels, in most of it's a style of Jane Austen. See, we have learned about the style, isn't it? In language and linguistics, we talked about the style that is each and every writer or each and every the mm, person who is expressing language will have his own style. So, and if every expression person of expression will be having his own style of expression. Okay. So here Jane Austen, her style is that uh, she always used irony in her language. Okay, irony is much employed as a technique in her novels. Okay, so that's a good thing. We can find that's very enjoyable thing which you can find in the novel. Then another thing is that the third person narration is a style of poem that is Jane Austen, and it is used, and the third person narration is used, and also positions herself. She always positions herself uh, along with the mind of one character. And see, that's the style of Jane Austen. She always uses third person narration, but what she do is that she always places her mind, and she always places her position, that is the position of narration along with the mind of one character. She selects the one character and presents the action from that character's point of view. Okay, so that's the style of Jane Austen. Here in this story, that is in Pride and Prejudice, we can see that she is standing from the position of Elizabeth, and it is through the character Elizabeth's point of view that we are being told the story. The whole novel is being told. Okay, so that is the style of one of the remarkable style which we can find in Jane Austen. So you have to write this particular point also. Okay. So the style of Jane Austen is very important. Then again, we can find that most of her novels are ending with a happy ending. Almost every novel is ending with a happy ending, and it's a common element which you can find in Jane Austen's novels. Okay, always she finds She want people to be optimistic after reading her novel. That's the reason why she's making a happy ending. See, the thing is that she is pointing to a folly of a society or a folly of human character, and along with that, she is commenting that it could be changed. Okay, it could be revived by the people, and they can come back to the society as an acceptable person if they are changing themselves, and they could enjoy the society. So that's the thing which which Jane Austen is up to when she is ending her novel in a good manner or with a happy ending. Okay, she wants her readers to be optimistic, and she want her readers though she want her readers to change themselves from their inner mind, and also she want a social change, that is external change. She wants all these things, but she is giving them a chance for changing, and so that the society will accept them, and there will be a good happy ending for anybody who could enter by a change to the society. Okay, so this is actually she is giving a space for the readers to change and to revive themselves, and by giving a happy optimistic ending. Okay, now uh, and another thing is that most of her novels are ending with marriage. Okay, and we can find that the marriage is between the people who love each other. Loving means not just by fascination, but by understanding human characters, and by taking granted the person as what he is, by understanding a person what he or she is. Okay, and after undergoing a lot of encounters and a lot of experiences, they come to a conclusion that yeah, this is the right person who will be good in my life as a partner, not with a with just with a one side fascination. Okay, so this is the all about the technique which Jane Austen is using in her novels. Okay, so the techniques are that mostly she used humor and irony. Irony is the biggest technique which she uses to lash over the social flaws and follies, or to lash um, beat up the personal characters, the follies in the personal characters, or likewise. Okay, so that is her. We can say that that is her sword through which she makes the war. Okay. Now that is irony, the technique, language technique of using irony. I think you know what an irony is. Irony actually it's a rhetoric device, and there's no need of talking about irony to you masters of English anyway. So anyway, then another thing is. Yeah, yeah, as I have told you, that another technique which she uses is the position, taking a position. That is, the narrator is taking the position of a particular character, and the whole thing is being introduced through this the view or point of view of that particular character. And again, we can find the ending of the technique of ending the novel. So all these things are the techniques which you can explain about Jane Austen. So I think it is well explained now. We have seen the whole aspects of Pride and Prejudice, and now we can say that it's a very good novel, isn't it? Just think about a novel in the early stage, that is, and a lady like Jane Austen. See, she has put all the things together in such a beautiful manner. The characters are being put in a good manner. And another thing is that the characters which have been selected are very relevant selection, isn't it? See, no characters are being introduced just for namesake, or just to loose characters, or the character without any importance. Only the two sisters, that is the sisters of there's Mary Bennett and that Kitty Bennett. We can find that they are not much mentioned, but it is been they are being included for a particular reason, because to show the concern of Mrs. Bennett, or the anxiety inside her about the children. So why is it so? See, she has got the whole children are five daughters she has got. So in order to make that number five, the Mary and Kitty are being introduced. Okay, to show that anxious mother, to sorry, to show that how far a mother with five children, five daughters will be anxious about their future, will be dreaming about their future. She wants to make them settled. And the main thing is that, see, Mrs. Bennett knows that her daughters could only get a good future only if they are married to a good wealthy person. See, it's not that she is a narrow minded lady. It's that because she has got experiences in her life that how ladies are being considered, how they are getting settled, how they could get a good life in that particular social situation, and they don't have any scope of getting jobs or getting professions or earning. And she might have seen many people see that that's the possibility of a mother, isn't it? The real mother with five children, five daughters, and of which they will never get any inheritance from their father. So that is their self father, that who has brought up them. Or the whole earnings of that father couldn't be enjoyed by the daughters. Just think about such a social situation. So obviously, the mother will be anxious about the children. She will be thinking more about. She'll be putting to actions for making the children settled. So the only means of getting settled is by making them married to a good wealthy person. So that is been happening here. That is the selection of Mrs. Bridget, and see, we were talking about two unimportant characters here, that is Mary Bennett and Kitty Bennett. So they are being included in the novel just to show that that Mrs. Bennett is having the five daughters. Okay, so that's in order to show the depth of the anxiousness of her daughters or her family. Okay, so if you are just putting it apart, then we can see that yeah, all others are very, very important characters. They are contributing much to the story. If they are being displaced, then the story won't be in such a way. Okay, so all are contributing in a well manner. See, in Tom Jones, if you are comparing this particular novel to Tom Jones, we can find that Tom Jones is overloaded with a lot of characters over there, but we can find reason for it because it was the starting of novel and it was an attempt by Henry Fielding. But though it was an attempt, it is good. It is good. Going, it has done good with the psychological part of expression of a person, the buildings Roman and all, the growing up of a child in the society. All these things are there. Worthy things are also there. The more worthy things are there, though there are some flaws which we could see there. Okay, and so this is all about the novel. Uh, that is Pride and Prejudice. Mm, I think you might be, I'm sure that you are impressed with Jane Austen because I like her novels very much. And if you are more interested, I would suggest you to read Sense and Sensibility. It's very important, very good novel. Mm, and so, anyway, and many films are there of the novels of this Pride and Prejudice. You can find films, the Sense and Sensibility. You can find films, or all the six novels. You can find films, movies, and if you are interested, you can just watch the movie and see. Of Pride and Prejudice, also, I would recommend you to watch a movie of Pride and Prejudice. Then it will be well good for you to understand each expressions and all, but it's good to read more because the your language, your writing capacity will be more if you read the things. Okay, reading will help you to write more, and listening will help you to speak more. Okay, so now as you are gonna write your examination, you are preparing for your examination, I would recommend you to read more and then to practice writing that novel that is from your home itself. Not practicing means just to at least one essay you have to just write down on the questions which may be asked in this novel. Okay, so this is all about the novel. I think I have done justice to the novel, and so if there is any doubt, now it's time for clearing doubt. So please put forward your doubts. I'm here to clear it.
No. Ma'am?
Yeah, just now.
No, 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 ma'am. No doubt, no.
Okay. Then anybody else who want to ask anything?
Okay, it's clear. No, ma'am. No doubt.
Okay. Yeah, and it's quite easy also because we are dealing with a story and it's quite easy to understand. I know that because novel is always easy and interesting, uh, apart from language and linguistic. But see, don't put that paper apart. See, before forgetting the points, please learn language and MEG 4 first and make notes on it, okay, because if you find it difficulty, many confusions may occur if once you forget the points which we have discussed. So before forgetting, please put the points in your paper by yourself and prepare essay on the questions, possible questions asked because it's for novel and all you will get points to write because with a continuous manner you can just comment and criticize the novels. It's easy if you have a creative mind in you and if you have language with you, it will be easy for you. And if you know a little bit things about the writer and the background and all, it's easy for you to put the things in the paper. But if you are coming to MEG 4, that is language and linguistics, there you have to write the things which are which are the points. Okay, so please do go through the textbook. See every part of the textbook. Every I think every pages of the study material we have gone through. I have explained it. Every portion we have explained. So please don't neglect it. And what I suggest is that never keep it, prolong your say never keep it aside and thinking that you'll deal it afterwards. See, you will forget about the things which we may have discussed. So please learn it first, okay? And learn first and take it into your mind and see, and afterwards you can just at the time of the exam you can just go through it once again. But first, at least once you just go through the things in a better manner. And if you come across any doubt, see, I'm here, I'm coming here. See, I'll be there till we finish this particular MEG 3 and see, I'll be there for you to clear your doubts. So if you have got any doubt in MEG 4, also you can clear it in this platform. Okay, so for that you have to go through the things which we have learned, go through the study material, and so please do that. So I'll be there till the MEG. See, now we are dealing by now we have finished book 2, and the things will go firstly by 1 week. We'll be finishing the whole thing one week or 5 days or 1 week like that. We'll be finishing it. So please do go through the MEG 4 and if you have any doubt, you see I'm available here for you through this online classes. You can clear it. Okay, it will be easy for us to discuss. And if you are just mentioning it, see I can if you are putting the questions or doubts, see I can just go through the doubts and just refer it. And if I want to refer, I can just clear it in the next class also. So please do it. You can feel free to do it, okay, in this platform. So that's why I'm telling. So anyway, and in the case of poetry also, you can clear if any doubt is there through these online classes. Okay, don't think that now we are dealing with novels, so you can't clear the doubt of other papers. Okay. Okay, guys. So I think it's now time for us to sign up. So again, I'll schedule the next book, that is the next meeting with the book three of a novel itself. So till then, goodbye and take care. Hope you all have your attendance. Okay, attendance.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Thank you, ma'am.